Good morning, good afternoon for all the persons that have joined today. While we wait for some more persons to come in bit by bit in the next minutes, we are already going to start. Very happy that you have joined today to this webinar, in which we are going to talk about the main opportunities in several sectors in the city of Bogotá, our capital in Colombia. Let me start with a quick general update. We are going to keep, as Holland House, we are going to keep organizing this kind of webinars, online events for people from the Netherlands, from the Caribbean parts, and from other cities in Colombia to be able to join very easily. So we're going to continue with this kind of events. Also, since we're talking about opportunities and we have many companies and persons that might not speak Spanish, today will be completely in English. So we're going to continue with this kind of events, but of course, also bit by bit, we feel we can organize more hybrid events and some small scale presential events. So also in the next period, you will receive some invitations for also in-person events. September 8 and 9, we will have a showcase together with the embassy in which we're going to use what's called today in the Netherlands, the virtual gateway. We're going to use that to bring you to the Netherlands with virtual reality, and we're going to show you several of the main sectors in the Netherlands. So a lot of events coming up. And I think one of the milestones that as Holland House, we are very happy and we are almost there. We have 3 more new members to go to get to the magic number of 300. So you are today part of a community of almost 300 companies, only a few more to go. And of course, we're also going to celebrate the moment we get to 300 members at Holland House. That's something we're going to celebrate. And of course, member number 300 will be a very special one. So also, if you would like to recommend membership to one of your colleague companies or one of the companies in your network, it might be a very good opportunity. So that's in the general update session. But today we're going to talk about Bogotá. Today we have 2 invited speakers, David Canal and Stephanie Suarez of Invest in Bogotá. They are both very experienced in helping international companies become active in Bogotá, and they have a very complete picture and panorama of current and future projects that are going to take place in the city of Bogotá. Like I mentioned, Bogotá being one of the main construction sites, I would say, in Latin America today, but also in the next years. So we're going to talk today about projects in mobility, transport and logistics, social infrastructure, health infrastructure, water supply, in different sectors that today are a priority for Bogotá. They're going to detail the main projects that are already on their way or are coming very soon. And to you today participating, we would like to invite you, if you see a project that is of interest to you, a project that you could see a role for yourself, please use the chat. We're going to have a Q&A at the end. So please already write down your question so that we can try to answer as many as possible. And also we will invite some persons live to ask their question directly to David and to Stephanie. Without any further ado, we're going to start this session. I'm going to invite David and Stephanie to join us. The floor is yours. I know you have a very clear presentation for today, but thank you once again for joining and being available to tell us about everything that is happening in Bogotá and is going to happen in the next years. Thank you again.
No, thank you, Jan, and thank you to Holland House, definitely one of the top binational chambers here in Colombia, and thank you to Efraim, Natalia, all the team for inviting us, and welcome everyone. I see we're closing. We have around 40 attendees to this meeting, and for us it's a pleasure to be here. Let me share my screen, and please let me know when you are seeing it, please.
Yes, perfect, David.
Okay, so welcome everyone to this session. My name is David Canal or David Canal, and I am the Senior Investment Promotion Officer for the infrastructure sector here at Invest in Bogotá, which is the investment promotion agency. We're gonna share with you a small introduction about our agency. How do we support international companies to expand into the Latin American market, specifically to Colombia and Bogota. So basically, we are a public-private partnership between the Chamber of Commerce of the city and the Bogota Mayor's office. So what we do is that we support foreign companies during their whole investment cycle. So we start providing them custom-made information for opportunity analysis, where companies are assessing a business plan for expansion here to the region, and we're able to compare different parts of the world in different cities. We then, once the company has started to grow this opportunity, then we also carry out some advice during the startup of the company. That means we carry out and we can put together some networking, connections with potential services providers, everything that is necessary to set up shop here in Colombia, in Bogota. So that's basically what we do. And also, when a company has been established for many years here in Colombia, we also help them out expand their business, and basically our services are free of charge. So this is a service that is offered by the city of Bogota. Sorry. And why is it why is it free? Because we have worked for 15 years, and during this period of time, we have supported over 400 companies, representing over 50,000 direct jobs. For every single one of these jobs, there are 3.8 indirect jobs. So the impact is very significant. And as you can see, we have attracted over $3.1 billion in foreign direct investment. So basically, that is like the reward that the city gets by financing us. Basically, 3.1 billion is way more than Stephanie and I get paid. So that's basically the logic of the service. There you can see some companies that we have had the pleasure of working with in several sectors. We have 5 teams here at Invest in Bogota, but today we're going to focus on infrastructure. To kick things off, we prepared a small chart where you can see, sorry, I have to move this window, where you can see the summary of FDI, of foreign direct investment, from the Netherlands to Colombia over the last 10 years. So there's 2021, but to Q1 of 2021, basically food and tobacco is the main sector where companies from the Netherlands invest in Colombia. Then you have corporate services, IT, and textile, and then you have just one project in other sectors. And that represents over almost $370 million and almost 4,000 direct jobs. So that's basically the landscape of companies from the Netherlands in terms of foreign direct investment. So as you can see, infrastructure is not a sector that has been very explored by companies from the Netherlands. But let's see, where are the main opportunities here in Bogota region? We just don't take care of the urban area of Bogota. Bogota is a big metropolis, and we also promote the projects that are on its surroundings. So just to give you like a heads up of what we're gonna see here is the main projects that the city has. This means that the pipeline is way larger than what we are going to show you, but these are like the spearhead projects that would be the most interesting in terms of capex, of investment, and of course of rewards for the company that gets awarded with them. So these are the 5 subsectors where we frame the infrastructure opportunities. So the first one is water and sanitation, and we know by previous conversations with the team here of Holland House at Bogota that the Netherlands have a very interesting cluster and water industry. So this may be very, very interesting. We have one of the hottest projects in the region. So let's see what is under construction. First of all, we have the Salitre wastewater treatment plant, which was awarded some years ago. It's already under construction. It's about to be finished. and this one is going to treat 30% of Bogotá's wastewater. In second place, we have the Canoas lifting station. We present this because they may be, even though they have been already awarded, there may be some opportunities in terms of providing and subcontracting other services. The second project is the Canoas lifting station. This is like the little brother and the pre-project of the next one that is going to be the most interesting one in terms of water. So this is the lifting station for the Canoas wastewater treatment plant. So this has been already awarded to Motangil, and this lifting station is gonna feed the Canoas WWTP by extracting the wastewater from 70 meters deep from the mother web, if you can, that's how it's named in Spanish, and it's going to feed this wastewater treatment plant, which is one of the hottest projects in terms of waters around the world. We have been approached by companies from all over the world and even from China, and I think there are just a couple of these in China. This is huge project, $1.5 billion project. That's why it's so interesting. And the model is also very appealing to foreign companies. Why? Because it's a concession, 26-year concession that includes design, construction, maintenance, and operation. So basically, you're going to be awarded with the whole package of the project, and how companies are, or the investor or the company that gets awarded with this project is going to get the return of the investment is via the monthly fees that all the citizens that have water service as a utility at their home. So it's basically a low risk project because everyone basically has to pay like monthly, and of course you don't want to run out of water at your home, so you pay that very strictly. The project has some challenges, of course, because the experience, as you can see, is 16 cubic meters per second. This is something that we have been working on with the sewage and water company of Bogota, because the experience is quite high. So we are, and they are assessing if they're going to be a little bit more flexible in terms of how companies can present this experience, right? So why is this project so important? Because it's going to treat the remaining 70% of wastewaters from Bogota and 100% of the wastewaters of Soacha. Soacha is a neighboring municipality that basically is a neighborhood of Bogota in terms of administrative matters. It's independent. It has its own mayor, its own city hall, but it's technically you don't notice when you enter into Soacha. It's basically a neighborhood from Bogota where around 600,000 people live. So of course, in terms of infrastructure, it's going to be very important, and not only in Colombia, but in Latin America as well. It's going to be the second largest WWTP in the region, just being surpassed by one in Mexico that has a larger capacity, but in terms of capex is the largest. How it's going to be funded? This one has a co-funding agreement. Basically, the entities that you see there on the right have already some resources to invest in this project. So you see the Bogotá Mayor's office has over $200 million. Cundinamarca, which is the state where, I mean, not technically, but it's the state surrounding Bogota, $15 million. The CAR, which is the environmental entity of Colombia, has, and Cundinamarca, because it's regional, has already almost $500 million awarded to this project, and the Bogota Sewage and Water Company around $180 million. So the company that gets awarded with this project would have to finance around $690 million this project. So how does the timeline looks like. You can see in every single project, we have it there. We will not repeat it because you can read it. But basically, we expect that next year, this project would be awarded. Next, in terms of sanitation, we have 3 projects, and 2 of them are like twin projects. The first one is a leachate treatment plant, and the second one is a thermal treatment of solid waste. So these 2 projects are very relevant to the city. Why? Because we only have one functional landfill at the city, which is called Doña Juana. And this landfill gets around 6,000 tons per day. That's huge. That's an amazing number. In Bogota, we produce around 8,000 tons of waste per day. And from those, 2,000 are reutilized or recycled in some way. And the remaining 6,000 tons go to this landfill. So these 2 projects, what they aim to do is to reduce the environmental impact of this waste that it's getting buried into the Doña Juana landfill. So basically, they have the same timeline, they have the same capacity, or they aim to treat the same amounts of tons per day, which is 10% of the daily amount that comes into the landfill. As you can see, 600 tons per day. Basically, as you can see in the timeline, we expect the structuring process to end in October of this year, and then we'll know a little bit more about the details of the contract. We already know that it's a concession, and it's very interesting as well because it includes the construction and the operation of this plant and of the next one that we're going to show you. It's very low risk project because the WAESP, as you can see there, which is the special unit for, as you can see, utilities administration, it owns the landfill. There's 600 hectares, and it's gonna provide the land in this same space. So basically, you're gonna have the plant and the same landfill, and they're going to put the waste at the door of your plant. So it's a very low risk project in terms of running out of waste, of garbage to treat. And it's only 10% of the daily amount of garbage, of waste that gets produced. So it's a very low risk project in this matter. And this is the twin project that we were speaking about. It's basically same timelines, is varying structure, at the same time, same capacity, but in this part, they aim, or you may also produce some energy from the waste. So, and you can sell that energy. We think that, or we know that the thermal efficiency of this type of waste is not that high, but you can still get some money out of it. The third project is very different. The first 2 that we saw in terms of sanitation were in the field of final disposal. But this one is in terms of circular economy. So this one is not that developed yet, but it's important for you to know that the same entity, the WAESP, is very interested in knowing in getting to know more about technologies from foreign companies to explore what type of projects they can do in terms of recycling, of natural gas, and so on. So as you can see, we are carrying out some pitch sessions where companies just have 10 minutes to present their technologies in this matter of circular economy or reutilization of waste. Okay, so that was our first niche for infrastructure. Let's move on to the second one, which is transport. Transport for us, and the opportunities that we are promoting, or that we promote mainly, are framed in these 6 subsectors. So we have the Transmilenio, that if you live in Bogota, if you have been here, it's very likely that you have seen it. It's the BRT system. This is basically a bus with exclusive lanes, and stations that actually was developed for the first time by a mayor of Bogota in the 2000s. This system has already 20 years and has been replicated in many cities around the world. And this mayor is very famous because of this system. And it was like the first massive transport system that we had here in Bogota. In second place, we have the SITP, which are the another complementary public bus system, but not through exclusive lanes. We have the Transmicable, which is the name for the cable cars that function in Bogota. If you are not familiar with our geography, we are a landlocked city in the Andes. So basically, we have mountains at the east of the city and at the southwest of the city. So, and this usually the social profile of the persons that live in these parts of the city, it's low income. So this the social impact of this cable cars is huge. On fourth place, we have Cyclopaths. We know that in the Netherlands, the culture of the bicycle is very important, and for us it is as well. Bogota is a global capital of the bicycle. Why? It's because we have developed many means, and we promote the bicycle use strongly. We have over almost 600 kilometers of exclusive cycle paths, and we estimate that there are around 880,000 trips per day in the city. On top of that, we have the Ciclovia, which is a model that basically on Sundays and on holidays and on national holidays, you get some of the main roads closed just exclusively for people to ride their bikes. Third of all, you have in fifth place, we have road infrastructure, basically classic infrastructure. And in sixth place, we have a very interesting railway agenda that we're going to share with you right now. So let's kick things off with two projects that have already been awarded, but still get some or they put up some interesting opportunities for companies, even though they have already been awarded. So the first one is the first line of the Bogota Metro. Actually, last week we had the pleasure of attending to the beginning ceremony for the construction of the first station and workshop for the trains. This project is a $4.5 billion project, and it was awarded to Chinese consortium that was formed between Czech, that is China Harbor Engineering, and Xi'an, which is the largest railway operator in the world. So these two are going to have to subcontract a lot of services, and they're going to have to buy a lot of goods and materials and so on, whatever and construction materials, whatever you can imagine, to make this 23 kilometers of metro happen. This is it's not an underground metro, it's a viaduct with 16 stations. So that's how it looks like for the time. And for every single project, you can see that's the map of Bogota. On the left, you can see like the geographic location of the projects. The second one is the Regio Tram, of the Regio Tram de Occidente in Spanish, but it's like the West Regio Tram. Basically, it's a light train that will connect Facatativá, which is a surrounding municipality of Colombia, which is 40 kilometers away from Bogota, excuse me. So it's 40 kilometers away from the city. And as you can see, it will connect that municipality with not downtown, but just like the center of the city, not the historic center, but a very concurrent part of the city. So it was also a $1.1 billion project, also awarded to a Chinese company, CCCC. And this one also kicks off this year. And we expect this project, the first line of the Bogota Metro, to start operation in 2028, and the first line of the Regio Tram, the Regio Tram in 2024. So there you can, if you're interested, there are a lot of opportunities in that sector. Also, there in terms of now the BRT system, the dynamic of the presentation that we have here is that we'll show you like the pipeline of projects. Now we're showing you what is under construction, that it's going on, and then we'll show you what is under structuring process, what is a little bit further away into the timeline, and also in terms of development. So in terms of Transmilenio, these three main lanes have already been awarded. Phase 1 and 2 of Soacha, Ciudad de Cali, and 68th Street Avenue, which are very important routes for the city. As you can see, there you can see the value of the contracts, and there may be also some subcontracting opportunities as well. And for fleet renewal, also last year, there was a concession was granted for the operation and establishment of 900 new buses. So as you can see, we hope that in the not too distant future, there's going to be another fleet renewal concession process. Let's see a little bit, or let's move on to processes that have their bids open in terms of roadway infrastructure. These are the two most interesting projects that we have right now. The first one is Accesos Norte. Accesos Norte 2, basically, it's a PPP, a public-private partnership of public initiative. We have here, and I will make a short introduction and a stop here, because it's very important for you to be informed about the ways that are able or that are enabled here in Colombia to present projects. So basically, the most interesting one right now, or the most used one right now, are public-private partnerships. And we have of two types: the public initiative, where the entity basically presents the project and companies bid, but we also have a private initiative. We're gonna delve more into this later. So private initiative is when a company makes some sort of pre-feasibility of the project and then presents it to a national or local entity. So they're able to present projects, and the entity, the national entity, let's say the Ministry of Transport, gets interested in the project, and they're able to fund some part of the project, and also to grant this project to the originator or to other companies. The originator, the one that presented the project, is going to have some extra points just by structuring the project. And if they don't get awarded with the project, in either way, they put a value on what they think the structuring process was worth, and they get paid like that. So it's basically a win-win situation for that. For this case, Accesos Norte, it's a PPP of public initiative. And as you can see, it implies three parts of Bogota. The first one, it's the Autopista Norte, the central roadway, and just like a country road that it's called Perimetral de Sopó. Why is this project so interesting? Because the resources that come, or how the investor and the company that gets this project are going to get the return for their investment are tolls, as 34% of three existing tolls. And included in these tolls, you see the Andes toll, and this is the most concurred toll in Colombia. On average, 35,000 cars go through this toll, so the risk of demand is very low. That's why this project is so interesting. There you can see some other details, the capex, between capex and opex, you have around $380 million, and the concession is expected to be granted for 29 years. On the right, you can see the renders and the timeline. This process is open currently, and companies have until November of this year to submit their offers, and we expect this project to be awarded in January 2022. The next one, it's a little bit different. It's called Alo Sur. Here, the opportunities are a little bit different for any of you that is interested. Why? Because it's a public-private partnership of private initiatives. So a company already presented this project, already went through the whole process of approval, and in March, the bidding process was open. And when this happens, the rest of the infrastructure sector of companies have the opportunity of being an interested third party. So another company presented, they submitted their offers in June, and they're basically two competitors right now. So where are the opportunities? If you're a capital fund or if you're a financial investor, we will be able to introduce you to the company that gets this project awarded for you to invest in the project as a financial investor, because they are already the engineering and construction companies. So the opportunities would be more on the financial sector. Let's move on to the short term. Now we ended up with the medium term, the short term, and the projects that are under construction. And now we will move on to projects that are on the short, medium term scope of time. So the first one is the second line of the Bogota Metro. This one, it's going to be an underground line of 15 kilometers and 11 stations. The feasibility contract was just recently awarded this month to a consortium that is integrated by Sistra, French company, Garrigues, which is a Spanish legal buffet, Brigard Urrutia, Bonus Investment Banking, and KPMG Legal and Tax. So they were awarded with the feasibility of the project, and we expect it to be the bidding process to be open next year or and to go until 2023. Right? So this very interesting, it's very interesting, $3.4 billion. We expect it to be a concession. So we'll have to wait, but definitely is one of the priorities of our current mayor. The second one is the North Regio Tram. It's a very similar project to the first one that we saw, the West Regio Tram. These two projects are very interesting because they are based on existing railroad infrastructure. So what the company would have to do is to refurbish and update this existing railroad infrastructure. And this is very favorable for the time of the project because you don't have to acquire maybe a lot of plots of land and so on. So it's very similar. The first one that we show you was 40 kilometers long. This one is 48. So by the characteristics of the project, we expect it to be around $1 billion project as well. And the third one that is under restructuring is the San Cristobal cable car. It would be the second, if you can call, lane of cable cars. We already have one, which is the Ciudad Bolivar cable car, and this one would be the second one. As you can see there, the details of the project. So now I'm gonna pass on to Stephanie to carry on with the long-term and medium-term projects.
Thank you, David. So we have for short and medium term these three important projects for the city. We have 7th Avenue corridor and 13th Street corridor and Bojack Extension Avenue. So for the 7th Avenue corridor, this project will change the way to move around this important this important place of the city. We have 3 important places for this road corridor that are Candelaria neighborhood, Chapinero, and the north of the city. The administration would like to develop this project through a public work, and the idea is to perform a road maintenance and a cyclopath construction. The main objective of this project is to develop an eco-friendly corridor with 100% electrical buses. And as you can see in the schedule, by the end of this year, it will be the end of the structuring phase, and the bidding process will be open next year. For the 13th Street Road Corridor, this is a very important project for the city. It is the main logistic corridor of Bogota, but it's not enough for the amount of vehicles that circulate around there per day. So the corridor will include 5 lanes in each direction, and also the contract will include the maintenance of the existing lanes to improve the mobility in the part of the city. And it will be developed through a PPP public initiative. According to the schedule as well, we have the end of the structuring phase by the end of this year and the bidding process next year. So Bojack Avenue, the idea with this project is to open a new connection from Bogota with the north municipalities and to liberate the existing road corridors in the city, such as Autopista Norte and 7th Avenue. The project will be developed with a public work contract, and it will include the designs, construction, and maintenance of 11 kilometers of a new road in the north of the city. So I'm gonna go really fast through the long-term projects that we have in our pipeline. And these are the Bogota's Metro extension to 200th Street, the South Regio Tram, Circunvalar de Oriente, SIM 80th Street and North, and extension 63rd Street. So with Bogota Metro extension, the idea is to extend the first metro line to the 200th Street. Right now it goes only to 72nd Street. So the idea is to extend this project. With South Regio Tram, the idea is right here, like to develop something like the Regio Tram de Occidente, the one that David mentioned before. This will be a light train that will connect Bogota with Soacha, that is a municipality in the south of the city that has around 500,000 inhabitants. And it will be developed under a PPP public initiative. That is what this administration wants. As well, we have Circunvalar de Oriente, that is a road corridor that will connect Bogota with Villavicencio, a town in the east of Bogota. The idea is to develop this road corridor through a PPP public initiative contract. And the idea is to build and do maintenance of the road. With SIM 80th Street and the north of the limit of the city, these are 2 different projects, but the initiative was presented by the same company under the PPP private initiative. And the idea is to build and operate 2 transport exchanges where the people could find the different transports that we have in the city, such as Millennial, Metro, and Regio Tram for now. And 63rd Street extension, this project will improve the mobility around the airport in the city, and it will help as well to improve the city's logistic operation. It will be developed as a PPP contract and will include the construction and maintenance of the road. So now we can change to one of our city's really interesting projects. This is the Millennial Cyclopath. Right now, many of you may know that Bogota is looking forward to become Latin America's bicycle capital. So that's why this administration is working really, really hard to develop this cyclopath of 26 kilometers that will connect the south of the city with the north of the city, and it will be the largest cyclopath in Latin America. Right now, this project is under structuring phase, and the administration is defining which type of contract will be better to develop, such as public work or a PPP contract. So going to Alo Centro, that is the next project that we have in our pipeline. This is a road corridor that needs to be developed from zero, like you have to build the whole corridor that will connect the 80th Avenue, the 80th Street with the 13th Street, and will complement the PPP initiative, Alo Sur, the one that David mentioned before as well. This project is located around the airport, and it will help to improve the city's logistic operation as well, such as 13th Street. And the idea of this administration is to develop the contract with a PPP public initiative. Right now is under studies and designs. For this project, the city is working along with ANI, that is the National Agency of Infrastructure, to define which is the best way to open the bidding process for the project. The idea is next year to open this bidding process, but we don't have further information of which decision the mayor's office made about this. As well, we have, well, as you may know, Bogota has mountains on its east and as well on the southwest. So these administrations, it's looking forward to build 3 different cables located like in the city parts where most of the people lives. We have Usaquén, Potosí, and Santa Fe. These cables right now are under studies and designs. We don't have the main characteristic of the project, and we don't have right now the type of the contract decide, but the administration is thinking about a public work or a PPP scheme. So if one of the companies that are with us right now would like to present a private PPP to develop these cable cars, there is an opportunity and an open window to do it. The idea of this project is to open the bidding process by the end of 2023. So now we're going to change our niche and we're going to social infrastructure, where we would like to present 3 hospitals that were awarded in 2019. Right now, they are in the process to start construction. And for this, we have 3 different companies, 2 Spanish companies, Grupo Ortiz and Copasa, and a Chinese company, Power China, to develop these projects. For this administration, we have 3 new hospital projects and 1 administrative building. We have Materno-Infantil Hospital, Simón Bolívar Hospital, Engativá Hospital, and the districtal administration building. So Materno-Infantil Hospital is already structured. This hospital will have 370 beds, and it will be located at San Juan de Dios complex in the maybe near to downtown of the city. Right now, we are waiting for the administration to define which of these 3 hospitals will open its bidding process. Because of the COVID-19, the administration could not open the bidding process of the 3 projects that they were expecting. Most of the funds, they had to be relocated to attend the emergency. That's why we need to choose just only 1 to open in this administration. But the idea is to leave the whole structure, designs and everything for the next administration to open the bidding process. So as well, we have Simón Bolívar that is already structured as well. It will have 450 beds, and it will be located in the north of the city in a project that calls Lagos de Torca that we will be seeing right in a few more slides. And we have Engativá Hospital that is a really special hospital. It's kind of different from the previous 2 that I already mentioned. This one right now is finishing the structuring phase, and it will include the renovation of the existing infrastructure and the construction of a new emergency tower besides the hospital. And we have the administration building that right now is under the structuring phase. The capex will be estimated around $329 million. This will be developed under a PPP public initiative scheme. And the idea here is to build up a building like where the 14 district entities will be located. Right now, our district entities are all around the city, and they are paying rents in different buildings. So the idea is to cut these rents and use this money to fund this building. And the idea is to open the bidding process in 2022. So changing to our next niche, that is urban renewal, we have 3 projects that are right now under structuring and design phase. We have Lagos de Torca, that is in the north of the city, Bronx Creative District, that is like downtown of the city, and Ciudad Can, that it's kind of more like in the north, I don't know, north center of the city. So Lagos de Torca, it's a really, really beautiful project to develop our north in the city. Right now, we don't have a lot of houses like in the limit of the city in the north. So the idea here is to do a proper development in this area and to recover all the like the fauna that it's located right there. So the idea as well is to do a construction of the Guaymaral Park that will be the largest park in the city, and it will have hospitals, schools, and shops for the people that goes and lives there. The idea of this administration is to develop a citadel in the north of the city where the people could live and work at the same time, and they don't have to move around Bogota to go to work or to do different kind of activities. The idea here is to end the structuring phase by the end of this year and to start the proper development through 2023 and 2027. We have Bronx Creative District, that is a really that is a social project. This one is located in the downtown of the city. This used to be a really not a good part of the city. So the idea here is to renovate this part and to build the first creative building for Colombia and Bogota. The administration wants to develop a PPP, public initiative contract, with a capex estimated of $100 million. And the idea is to build the new creative building and to do operation and maintenance of the new building and the heritage buildings that the city will give to the consortia that it's going to develop this project. The idea is to open the bidding process next year, and the city is working really hard on this project. And I'm going to give the floor to David, that is going to explain to you different opportunities that we have.
Thank you, Stephanie, for your intervention. As you saw on the previous part of the presentation, private initiative PPPs are thriving in terms of development. So it's a very important niche that we are promoting. And the next opportunities that we are going to present in terms of urban renewal have a lot to do with PPP and what you can do as or propose as a company. So basically, the most interesting venues and sectors are managed by the IDRD, which is called the Institute of Sports and Recreation, and it's basically the entity here in Bogota that is in charge of managing parks and sports and recreational venues. This entity is the largest public space administrator in Bogota. So as you can see there, and I don't know why there's a blue circle on the slide, but you have 20, they manage 22 metropolitan parks, 1 regional park, 98 zonal parks, over 1,600 pocket parks, which are, it's like the name that they give to this neighborhood, small parks, 7 sports scenarios, and so on. In total, they administrate 5,200 parks around. So what is the most interesting or one of the most interesting facts of this venues is that per month, around 2.5 million people attend to these places. So this is, as the mayor of Bogota says, if you sell 1 bottle of water to each one of these persons that attend to these places, that's a lot of money. And that money can be used to fund some projects. So let's see what has been done and what we have prioritized with the IDRD as the most interesting venues to present private initiative PPPs. Let's start with has been already or what is under development or it has been already been awarded. The first one is the Movistar Arena. This one was like a sports coliseum that was out of date. It was built in the 60s and basically was not the venue that a city like Bogota with around 10 million inhabitants deserves. So what happened is like a Chilean company presented the private initiative PPP to the IDRD, and they like it was a huge milestone for the city because it was the first private initiative or successful private initiative PPP in any sector, not just in entertainment and recreation, but also in terms of health, roadways. So it was a very important milestone for the city and for the country. So basically, they got the operation of this venue for 29 years. They sold or they got a sponsor, which is Movistar, one of the largest um, cell phone and communication companies here in Colombia, Spanish company. And basically, it was huge, or it is a huge success. It was basically sold out every single day or for every single function because, of course, before 2020, where things, of course, changed a little bit for the entertainment industry. The second success story that we have is the Salitre Mágico. Salitre Mágico is an amusement park that has a huge space of land in its property. So this one was also awarded to a private company to operate it for a long span of time. On the right side, you can see the other places or venues that we have prioritized with the IDRD. These ones are the most interesting venues that a company can study and present a PPP to operate them, to refurbish them, and to carry out a successful business model. The first two are what the mayor of Bogota called the crown, the jewel crown, the crown of the jewel crown. The first one is the Gibraltar Metropolitan Park. On the next slide, you'll see why it's so interesting. The second one is El Campin Stadium. This is the main stadium of Bogota, which basically was constructed like the Coliseum, and it's not even close from what a city like Bogota deserves for a football stadium. It's not suitable for concerts, so it's not falling to the ground. It's not like abandoned or in bad shape, but it's not the most updated and proper venue for a city like ours. And the rest of the list, you can see that we have all sorts of flavors of projects. You have a public bowling alley. You have the Boys and Girls Museum that it's basically like a science park. You have El Palacio de los Deportes, which is another sports venue. You have a golf course. You have the Simón Bolívar Metropolitan Park, which currently it's like our central park. It's not that big, but it's like the most important park of Bogota in terms of sports, recreation, and so on. You have other CEFES, they're called Centros de Felicidad or happiness centers, which are basically wellness and sports complexes in the city, and you even have an observatory. There are way more as mentioned, but these are the most interesting ones in terms of size and so on. So how does it would look like? So what is the imaginary for this type of project? As mentioned, this is the Gibraltar Metropolitan Park, one of the crown jewels. And on the left, you can see the current or how does it look like currently. It's basically a huge plot of land where the water and sewage company carries out some sanitation processes. It's very big. And why is it so interesting? Because next to this park, it would be the first station of the first line of the Bogota Metro. On top of that, the Ciclo Alameda or Medio Millennial Cyclopath that, as you saw with Stephanie's presentation, It's going to be the largest cyclopath in Latin America with 26 kilometers. Goes through there. You have other station of Transmilenio. You have many transportation systems that have surrounding stations. You have a huge population surrounding it. We expect this to benefit over 2 million people. So thus it is that interesting. So on the right, you can see like the renders of what they imagine that it can look like. So the key for a private company is to come up with a successful business model that enables the return on the investment on this project. It can be like parking lots, also malls, sports venues, like football pitches when you can rent the space for people to play football and so on. So this is like the model, and we are enabling the POT, which is like the land organization plan of Bogota, to enable this type of commercial activities in parks, because right now that is not possible. And the pot that it's currently under approval includes this. So the city is making its best efforts to enable companies to invest in this type of projects. So this is going to be our last subsector. It's going to be smart cities, and we will finish our presentation. Smart cities, as we know, it's a very wide and huge term. Smart cities could be anything. It's like Internet of Things. That could be from a Alexa speaker to a traffic light with internet access. So we chose to bring to you the mobility projects in terms of smart cities, because there are basically over 100 projects here in Bogota that relate to the smart city term. But we chose mobility because it is the one that has basically more like tangible projects. The first one in the short term, which is currently under development, and the bidding process is open, is the digitalization of the mobility procedures and services. This basically is a huge project, $200 million for a company to operate for over 20 years. And all the 52 services that the mobility secretariat is going to outsource to this company, from a driver's license to a ticket that you get for speeding. You're going to be able to take care of that through this platform. And I don't know if for many of you this would be feasible, because there are only 12 days left in terms of the tender window. So just for you to know that maybe in terms of subcontracting or other services that you may provide to the bidding winner are an opportunity. In the long term, and not that long term, we have 4 other projects. Congestion charges, which is basically like the not urban toll technically, but like the system that you find in London, which is probably the most famous one, that if you go and you want to drive your car through the city center as they would say, you get a charge. We have the bike sharing system, which is not that on the long term. We're going to delve a little bit more on this one. We have parking meter system and a management and control center. From these projects, the one that is closer in terms of time is the bike sharing system. And we know that you are very strong in the Netherlands in terms of bike mobility. So what does this project imply? This is this is a 2,000 minimum, a 2,000 bike project with 52 stations. I think you are familiar with this type of bicycles in several cities of the world. In New York, I think they're the most famous one, the Citibank bikes. And what is different from many other places is that for this project, there is no public funding. The company that gets the operation and development of these projects are going to have to finance or get their return or their investment via 2 ways. One, a sponsor. Of course, these systems do not, if they don't have like public funding, they have to have a huge sponsor. So basically, if you get awarded with this project, you will have to find a commercial partner, a company that is willing to sponsor your bikes. And the second one are the membership fees that the users would have to pay to gain access to these bicycles. So how does this look like in terms of time? We expect, and just last week, the Mobility Secretariat told us that they expect to open the bidding process this month, uh, or at the beginning of September, and definitely they would like to award it in October or November of this year. What does imply this contract is a 7.5-year operation. Of course, if you get awarded with this, the extension probabilities go up, and basically a lot of companies are interested in this because the publicity and all the marketing tools that they would gain access to, and how they would be able to sell the publicity to private companies, it's very interesting. So basically, that was our presentation. It was a pleasure to share with you these projects. As mentioned, this is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of projects, because we have a way larger pipeline in Bogota. We have smaller projects that could be like the bread and butter for companies that establish here. But basically, this was like the most significant ones. And thank you very much again for your attention. And I think we have a Q&A session, right?
Yes, David, that's right. Thank you very much for the presentation.
You're muted, Efraim. We cannot hear you. I don't know if it's just.
Hi.
Sorry. I don't. Sorry. I was mute. My audio was muted. Sorry.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for the presentation, Stephanie, as well. Thank you. So first of all, we're gonna continue with a Q&A, live Q&A. So the first person who's gonna present a question is Andres Felipe Arboleda from Conhindra company. And this question is regarding the project of canoas. So Andres, you can continue.
I don't know if is Andres speaking or.
Buenos días, ¿me escuchan?
Sí.
Sí, Andrés. Yes.
Ok, buenos días. Mi pregunta va referida a dos proyectos en los cuales socializaron, que fue el proyecto de Cannabis y el proyecto de tratamiento de lixiviados de la UASP. Me gustaría, si es posible, nos puedan ampliar un poco la información del proyecto en cuanto al estado actual de esos dos proyectos, la fase en la que se encuentra y cuáles son las siguientes fases que siguen en ese proyecto, porque según la presentación logro identificar que uno ya fue adjudicado, que fue el de Canoas, y el otro, que es el de tratamiento de lixiviados, pues está como en la fase de prefactibilidad y sigue una fase posible de adjudicación. Entonces, si nos pueden brindar un poco más de información. Y por último, si esta presentación que acaban de dar la van a compartir. Esas serían mis preguntas. Muchas gracias.
Okay, thank you. I think I should answer in English for English-speaking audience, right, Efraim?
Well, I don't know if it's possible if you can answer both in English and in Spanish.
Okay.
That Andres made the question.
Okay, we'll do. So basically, for the English-speaking audience, Andres asked about the status of the Canoas wastewater treatment plant and of the leachate treatment plant. So, Andres, the Canoas WWTP, the treatment plant, has not yet been awarded. What was awarded was the lifting station. So the lifting station is just the pre-project that is going to feed the water to the main project. So the status of that, if you want to delve a little bit more, is that last week, the environmental authority, the ANLA, granted the environmental license. And this is also very interesting for the company that gets this project, because they are not going to have to present and get the approval for the environmental license. So that is the status of the project. It is under structuring. It has been granted with this, or it has been awarded the environmental license. All right. So what comes is the bidding process. The WWTP has not been awarded yet. For and bueno, en español, lo que fue adjudicado en términos del proyecto de Canoas es la planta elevadora. La planta elevadora es la que saca las aguas residuales de 70 metros de profundidad de la red madre y se las alimenta a la petar Canoas, que no ha sido construida, pero pues claramente esto tiene que existir antes para que cuando esté lista la petar Canoas, pues pueda tener ya las aguas para tratar, ¿sí? Leachate plant, this one is going to, as you mentioned, everything that you said was accurate. It's under the structuring phase. There is nothing else that we can, I mean, we have like a technical sheet for the pre-feasibility. We have some technical specs that we can share with you, but it's going to be granted this year. ¿Sí? En términos de la planta de tratamiento de lixiviados, lo que existe en este momento son algunos datos técnicos, está en estructuración esta y la planta de aprovechamiento térmico de residuos. Estos, como les mencioné, son proyectos gemelos y pues deben ser adjudicados este año. Entonces, la tercera pregunta es, if you can have this presentation, the answer is of course. We will share with you, and maybe we can share with you some booklets with more like detailed information. Con todo gusto les podemos compartir unos booklets que tenemos con información más detallada.
Thank you, David. Well, now we have few questions from José Andrés Cabrera M. So the first question is, trunk road for Transmilenio Avenue 68 and Avenue Ciudad de Cali are under process. They also will include additional buses fleet, and if so, when is expected the tender to be released?
Yes, so as mentioned, yes, the main lane or troncales or trunk road, as you mentioned, have already been awarded, but there's the construction of these lanes. So when we spoke about buses, we spoke about the SITP. And there are, of course, also some opportunities in terms of operation of Transmilenio, but currently we do not have a timeline of upcoming operation of new fleet for either for Transmilenio or for SITP. We spoke with Transmilenio last week, and of course there are going to be new ones, but currently we do not have a specific timeline.
Okay, the second question of Mr. Jose is, Regio Tram del Norte is under studies. Where could we find additional information, or who is leading this project? When is expected to release the tender?
Thank you. Yeah, no, there's no further information. As mentioned, you mentioned Regio Tram del Norte, right?
Yes.
Yeah, this under structuring, and there is no further information that we can provide on top of what we showed you. But definitely, if you stay tuned to our networks, and of course, we will share with you, Efraim and Jan and everybody at the Holland House. Basically, what we do is that we keep you updated. We send you information, or we put together some webinars. So if you stay tuned to the space, you'll know.
Perfect. The third question is regarding the Pact for Air, the initiative from the town hall. What is the outlook regarding the trucks automotive part exchange for clean technologies? The focus will be with the CNG or Euro 6?
Efrain, we didn't get I didn't get the first part of the question. Did you mention
the Pact of Air? I'm gonna repeat it for you.
Okay, Pact of Air. Okay.
Regarding,
okay. Yeah, carry on, please. Repeat the question, please.
Regarding the Pact of Air, the initiative from the town hall, what is the outlook regarding the trucks automotive part exchange for clean technologies? The focus will be with CNG or Euro 6?
Yeah, so of course, and it's a very interesting question. Of course, the mayor's office is already thinking just about Euro 6 and everything on top of that. Of course, there are many initiatives regarding electrification of fleets. There are some talks in Transmilenio, in SITP, or the last bus concession included many electric or NCNG buses. But basically, there is no, or currently, there is no like specific information that we can provide to you regarding what is going to come next for the buses. But what we can tell you is that for sure it's going to be on top of Euro 6.
Perfect. And the last one of the questions of Jose is, Metro Bogotá Line 2 will be led by the FDN.
Yes, the FDN, it's like the supporting entity that will accompany the structuring phase as it happened the same structure or the same workflow happened with the first metro line. So they are accompanying this process, and they will work with the consortium that we shared, which is CIS, Tragarrigues, Brigardo Urrutia, Bonus Investment Banking, and KPMG. So it's a joint effort to structure this project. Yes.
Perfect. Now we have a question from Pavel Diaz. The question is, where can I get more information of the solid waste, thermal treatment, and organic waste treatment? Is it intended as a waste to energy project? Who to contact, please?
Yeah, we'll be happy to share with you in like an extended package of information that we have from the WISP USAP. If you shoot us an email, I don't know if you wrote down our email addresses at the end of the presentation, or please, Efrain, please do share that with them, or Stephanie is going to write down our emails at the Q&A or at the chat. We'll be happy to share with it. We have this information in English and in Spanish, and you can find another extra 10 pages of this project.
Perfect. And the last question from an anonymous attendee is, where can I get more information about the project, and if it's directly with Invest in Bogotá, or who in particularly do I contact?
Yes, for sure. We're here to help companies out, and even though if it's a national company, I mean, our mandate in the city is to promote the projects internationally. But if you're a national company, we're still interested in speaking with you, because many of international partners and investors are looking for an ally here in Bogota. So definitely you can as well shoot us an email, and we'll be happy to have a meeting with you, see what your interests are, and see how we can articulate your company or your interest with what we do or what foreign companies do.
Perfect. So thank you very much for all your answers, David and Stephanie. Thank you for all the attendees. At the end of the meeting, we will send to all your emails all the information regarding the contacts of David, of Stephanie, of Invest in Bogotá, and with a brief summary of all the topics that were mentioned today in the meeting. Thank you very much to all the attendees, and remember to follow us in all our social networks on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, not only Holland House, but also to Invest in Bogotá. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.